Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and it has been a long time. I know you've seen videos being posted. Thankfully, I had a lot of videos pre-filmed in anticipation of wanting to post a lot this holiday season. I have been super sick. That's why my voice might sound a little bit off. I definitely still feel a little bit off too. It's just been really a doozy. I feel like a lot of people can relate. I think this winter has been really rough for a lot of us. Even though I'm not 100%, I definitely feel so much better. I'm very close to being fully recovered, and I definitely cannot drop the ball on these next 3 videos. This is the first of 3 in my best of the year series. I prepare for this, I look forward to this, and I am absolutely committed to getting this little mini series out. It's always the last few videos that I post every year, so I do not want to break that tradition. What I'm gonna do is film these best of videos as sort of a hybrid, so you'll see this face talking to you for part of the time, and then we'll also do a series of close-ups, swatches, and voiceovers. That way I don't have to sit here and film for 3 hours, because I don't think I can do that. I don't think my voice can hold up to that, and I don't think that would give you the best possible viewing experience, which is really what my goal is for any video that I post on my channel. So in this video, part 1, we're going to talk about the best face products of the year. That's face base products, so things like foundation and concealer, as well as face color, so bronzer, blush, and highlighter. The way that I do my favorites is I don't force products in. So for example, this year I don't have a best new primer, so there's no primer in this video. I also only talk about things that were released in this year. Every once in a while, something from the very end of last year that didn't get a fair shake in the favorites then will get scooched over into this year's favorites. So everything in my best of the year videos released in the past year, maybe the last year and change. Just a couple of reminders, I don't try everything that is released in a year. There may be some really wonderful things that slip through the cracks. I try a lot, but I don't try everything. I just don't think it would be possible to try everything because there are millions of new products released every year. You know, these are my favorites, so these are all things that are geared towards my style, my preferences, my skin type. Especially in this video, I have really dry skin and I prefer very light coverage products. So you're gonna see favorites that are geared towards those preferences. Let's jump into my face favorites now, and let's start with my favorite base products. I have 5 favorites for base. I have a skin tint, a foundation, 2 favorite concealers, and a favorite powder. So let's take a look at my face base favorites first. First, and most importantly, we have to talk about the Salt New York Sneaky Balm. This is by far my #1 most favorite face product of the year, and I think you can tell by how much I've used this. I absolutely love everything about this. It's light coverage, it's skin-like, it gives me a little bit of an evening out look on the skin. It doesn't feel tacky, it doesn't feel thick, it's literally just perfect. It melts into my skin. I love everything about it, and you can see here on the inside of my arm, I chose this spot to swatch because it's a really different color than my face, so you can actually see where I put the color, and it just is the perfect texture. I can't say enough good things about this. I love it. It's my absolute favorite face product of the year, period. Now, a close second is this tinted foundation. This isn't necessarily what I would call a foundation. This is definitely like a hybrid foundation and gel moisturizer. It gives me more coverage than a tinted moisturizer does, but it gives me the hydrated feeling of a tinted moisturizer more so than a foundation. So this has the perfect name. I love this. I actually mixed these 2 colors together to get my perfect match. It has this beautiful, hydrated, very gel texture, but as it's blended into the skin, it just soaks in and it feels like a skincare product. I did a whole video on this. In fact, I did videos on most of the things you'll see in these best of videos. So make sure you check the description box because you'll be able to see wear tests, close-ups, application demos, all that kind of stuff in previous videos. This is just a rundown, a quick list, but you will be able to find a lot more information from my channel on the vast majority of these products. Now we're talking about concealers. I have two favorite concealers and they are both very different. I use them in different ways and I often use them together in conjunction with one another. This Too Faced Ethereal Light Concealer is a lot more hydrating. It's a lot lighter coverage. So I'll often just use a little bit of the Sneaky Balm and a little bit of this Ethereal Light Concealer. If I want some more coverage, I can add this Huda Beauty Faux Filter Luminous Matte Concealer into the mix. Never in my life did I think a faux filter product would work well for me, but I absolutely love this concealer. It adds so much coverage and such a great brightening effect while not feeling too thick, too heavy, too cakey. This does dry all the way down, but it still keeps a little bit of a satiny, luminous look on the skin. Exactly what I want when I want more coverage. Lastly, for face-based products, we have a pressed powder. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh pressed powder. Again, I did a whole review on this. This can actually be worn as a powder foundation. I tend to just use it more all over the face as a sort of setting powder. It has a beautiful satiny smoothing effect on the skin as well. And I actually keep the little puff thing in here and use this for touch-ups. I wore this when I was in an outdoor wedding in Houston in the summertime. And if you know anything about the American South, it was insanely hot. I was doing a lot of touch-ups, and this kept my skin actually looking fresh, actually kept my makeup in place without feeling cakey, without looking matte and crumbly on my very dry, very late 30s skin. It's just the perfect texture. It's so soft and lovely, and I don't usually like powders, and I love this powder, so that's saying a lot. Now that you've seen my face-based favorites from 2022, I want to show you some of my cheek color favorites. I have one bronzer, a couple of powder blushes and highlighters, a couple of cream blushes and highlighters, and one cheek palette favorite. The best bronzer for me by far this year was the ColourPop Super Shock bronzer. I like to use a mixture of these two shades. I do tend to prefer Get Sandy, and I do use that one more often, but if I need a little bit more of a bronzy effect, or I just want to add a little bit more of a contour effect, then I'll also add this shade called I'll Bet. These are a matte finish, but they really look more satiny on the skin because they don't have a super dry looking matte finish, and these just blend beautifully. They apply and layer beautifully. Absolutely, by far, my go-to bronzers this year. Now for a powder highlighter. This was my favorite powder highlighter of the year. It's from Haus Labs. It's their Bio Radiant Gel Powder Highlighter in the shade Peach Quartz. I actually have another one of these that I use as a shimmery blush topper, but I absolutely am in love with this Peach Quartz shade. It's the perfect amount of shimmer. It has the softest, most lovely, yummy texture. This is also beautifully buildable. If you want an intense payoff, then you can just apply a little bit with your finger. I do like to do a soft sweep with a brush instead because I do think it looks more sparkly when it's applied more intensely, but this is a buildable, layerable, delicious little highlighter. And speaking of shimmery, delicious face powders, let's talk about the Lethal Cosmetics blushes. They released these 4 new shades today. Now, I do have 2 favorites. I like the pinky mauve ones that are called Blossom and Ornamental. However, the orange and red blushes, Florette and Adorned are the orange and red ones, are also really beautiful. They're just not as much in line with my personal style. But if you like a shimmery blush, I love a shimmery cheek. I love a casually sweaty cheek. These are so gorgeous. They have the beautiful amount of sheen that is throughout the powder. It's not an overspray. These are lovely. They're layerable. They have some intense pigmentation, but you can wear them more sheared out as well. I love a glowy cheek, and these are my go-to glowy cheek blushes this year. Next up, from Oden's Eye, this is from their Solmane 2 collection. They came out with some gorgeous cheek products. These are the most drool-worthy, top to bottom, the packaging, the inside, the outside, the powders, the imprint. This is the most stunning, most detail-oriented release of the year, in my opinion. And it's even better because the products inside are just as gorgeous and high performing as the outside is beautiful and interesting. So this is all around one of the most exciting, most beautiful, most high level product releases of the year. Indies absolutely smashed it this year. Just wait until you see part 3 with the palettes. It's crazy. But this little cheek product release was so beautiful. I liked all of the cheek products in this release, but these were my 2 most worn, most favorite shades. The blush in the shade Orange Sunny, which is one of the matte blushes, and then this really soft Moonlight Feel highlighter in the shade Warm Sunshine. These are beautiful worn together, and they're also beautiful on their own individually. Any of these powders would be easy for me to recommend, but these 2 shades are just my personal go-to colors. For this blush swatch, by the way, I barely had to dip into the powder. These are super, super pigmented. Now a couple of cream blushes, of course. I love a cream blush, and while there were some great powder cheek releases this year, cream blush is always my most preferred method. These 2 I reached for constantly. I wouldn't be surprised if at least half of the times that I wore makeup this year, I was wearing a cream blush, and it was most likely one of these 2. The Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint Blush Stick. This is the shade Perky Peach. Again, all of the colors are beautiful. This is just the one I wore the most. And this Milani Supercharged Lip and Cheek Multi-Stick. I am so surprised this does not have good reviews on Ulta. I do not understand why, because this, especially this color, Spice Jolt, I wear this all the time. It lasts all day. It blends in beautifully. It is another one of my top most used products of the year by far, alongside the Sneaky Balm from Salt, New York. Now, this is a more recent release. This is from the Aurora Struck collection. These are the ColourPop Light Sticks. I love this release. I think this is one of the most interesting releases from ColourPop all year long. Their light sticks are beautiful. They are high performing. They're smooth. They glide on. They blend well. They play well with other products. And these particular shades, I think, were a very smart move for ColourPop because they are out of the box. They are a little bit different, but it's done in a way that's still accessible to most of their customers. I just think these are stunning, gorgeous, so fun. Last product for this video is the NARS Rising Star Cheek Palette. This is the best cheek palette product release of the year, in my opinion. Everything from the packaging, the printed powders, the variety of shades here. I think it's extremely difficult to create a face palette that has mass appeal. I can see this working for a lot of different skin tones, a lot of different styles. I did a recent video going very in depth on this cheek palette, so I'm not going to talk too much about it in this video since that one just came out pretty recently. Again, make sure you check the description box because I'll have lots more info there. These are just pretty, soft, buildable, interesting, gorgeous powders. I love them. Obviously, that's why it's in my favorites. That wraps up part 1 of my Best of 2022 series. Now you've seen all of my face favorites. Up next are my favorite lip colors. So if you want to see my top 10 favorite lip colors from 2022, keep an eye out on the channel because that one will be posted very soon in the next day or two. After lips, we'll have the best palettes of the year. That's the finale, the grand finale of this series. So keep an eye out for those videos coming very soon. I would love to hear what your favorite products from the year were. Do we have any of the same face favorites? Is there anything that I didn't list here that you think I would love? Make sure you leave all of your recommendations, all of your thoughts and favorites down in the comments for me. I often take your suggestions and you very rarely, if ever, steer me wrong. I want to hear all of your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! I'm going to show you... What was that? And with that, what was that? Jazz hands. So green. Green goddess. Great dressing, by the way, if you haven't tried it. Favorite... Favorites for... Whew, I'm exhausted and I just started. Not a good sign. I keep losing my train of thought too. I think my brain's just like scrambled after not feeling good for so long. I was sick for like a week. That's crazy. Probably, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Probably don't find that surprising, do you? This Salt New York Sneaky Balm though, like, do you see that? I have used this product so much. It is my most used face product. I love it. I basically wear it every single day. It's so good. Did I do the outro? Just in case. You never know. Alright, I'm going to do a little bit more filming. I'm telling you, I'm tired. This is rough. Hope I look okay. I think I look better than I feel, which is fine when you're a YouTuber. Better than the opposite. Whew, okay. Stay tuned. Another video coming very, very soon in the next day or two. Hopefully I can get it together and finish this series. I really want to. I'm really gonna try. Try my best. Okay. Hang in there with me. Thank you so much. I love your face. Oh, and don't forget, I have a little end of the year giveaway going on, so make sure you check that out too. Don't miss out. 3 winners with some really, really good prizes. Okay. Love your face. Bye-bye.